get those spikes. Hey, we're live. It's Tuesday. Happy Tuesday.
Gosh, it's Tuesday. That means it's Bitcoin ETH day.
No, it's Taco Day.
Oh, put them in your taco.
So hilarious. Someone said something about have a good Valentine's Day or something. I was at like some grocery store or something yesterday. And I was like, Valentine's Day? That's like next week. Why are we saying that? Turns out Valentine's Day is freaking tomorrow.
It's tomorrow.
So I better figure that out pretty quick.
Valentine's. I have breakfast for dinner today, which works really well. It's also Mardi Gras. So it's Trove Tuesday. It's Pancake Tuesday.
BTC, yeah, it is Pancake Tuesday, which I was also informed of today. All my life lived in Canada. Never heard of Pancake Day, ever.
You didn't get served pancakes at school?
No, I don't know. I don't remember it being a day. Anyways, we got lots to talk about today.
Not just pancakes. We will also talk about crypto.
My Valentine this year is going to be Bitcoin because it's just been so nice lately. But we're going to talk a lot about that. I think we've got a little bit of like discussion around price action and some ETF stuff and the market cap, starting to get up there near $1 trillion again. Then we're going to talk about Biden and his laser eyes, which is freaking hilarious given their stance on Bitcoin and digital currencies. We're going to talk about Gensler. Yeah, my man. And then we got some ETH ETF stuff, more ETF stuff, ETH price, ETH gas fees, yada, yada, blah, blah. We're going to end today, hopefully, if we get through all this, with a discussion about Polygon's new Type 1 prover technology, which is pretty cool, actually.
Are you ready?
Let's go. Okie dokie. I had someone, I'll set this one up. I had someone the other day that I know fairly well. That is a Bitcoin guy. But he's like kind of one of those, like he bought Bitcoin just because it was fashionable a while ago and has no clue what to do with it. So he's constantly asking me, where's Bitcoin going to go, up, down, this way? The other day he's like, oh, I sold at 38 thinking that it was going to go back down to 31 and now it's not going down. So what do I do? I'm like, bro, the advice is the same as it's always been. Dollar cost average. Like you never know what's going to happen. If it's going to spike or dump today or tomorrow, you have no idea. So the idea is make consistent, regular investments so that you're averaging your price over the course of a certain amount of time. So anyways, but having said that, his nightmare became a little bit more scary as the price got up to 50K, which is a pretty important level in a lot of ways. Anyways, go ahead. I've done all the talking here. If you want to jump in.
No, I think this was a great story, actually.
It is. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Like obviously Bitcoin's up. People think that's attributed to the ETF. I think it's also attributed to people getting ready for the halvening, but I bet it's sad for people who sold. So
yeah, it's interesting, right? And this is very common when cycles change from like a bull to a bear and then from a bear to a bull. People are still kind of addressing things like they were for the last 2 years, 18 months to 2 years, in the sense that like, oh shit, something pumped. I better take it off the table because it's probably going to, dump in the next little bit. But when you're kind of rounding the bottom and heading into a bull, I wouldn't be selling yet. Like we're for sure not at the end of the bull, barring any black swans or Chinese economy implosions or something. But I don't know. It's interesting. I think a lot of this, like 17.5% in a week, is a lot for any asset. I think this was in many ways expected. A lot of people, I think, were kind of holding off for a minute or two after the ETF announcement. By a minute or two, I mean about a month. And the reason for that, I think, was just there's so much speculation around this ETF that's been bubbling up for years, many years, that people weren't sure if it was like a sell the news or buy the news or neither. what was going to happen. So I think everybody kind of waited. Grayscale had to do all their transitioning and so on, which was a lot of outflows because they had a lot of people redeeming. And so I think everybody was just trying to let that dust settle. And now I suspect you're probably seeing more and more financial institutions adding support for these ETFs, even if they're not the institution that issues them. And naturally, you're going to see, more demand for BTC, which has to be settled physically with the asset. So it's taking more Bitcoin off the market. I mean, there's that. I think there's just growing optimism for the space right now. I think there's growing concern for many other asset classes globally at the moment, or at least uncertainty, where crypto provides maybe some positive upside and positive narrative and momentum. So all in all, I think it's pretty it's pretty exciting, pretty good news. Probably not due to any one particular thing, but maybe to a whole host of things.
Absolutely. And that market cap is out of control.
Yeah. So, I mean, gold is, I can't remember last time I checked, but it's around 6 trillion or something in the total market cap of gold. And so if we are to assume that people, institutions, investors are kind of sort of underwriting Bitcoin like they would gold as an investment, which it's different in some ways, it's similar in some ways. I know, I get it. But I think if you're underwriting it similar to gold, the theoretical market cap would be around 6 trillion, which would put us at about 300K per Bitcoin.
That's pretty well. People are also comparing it though to other tech market caps. So ETH's market cap is 313 billion, but Meta's market cap is 1.214 trillion.
Yeah, I'm not sure I see it the same way.
Okay. Those are like pretty, I don't know, it's just such a wide breadth of numbers, right?
Well, yeah, so I see that that's accurate and true. Sure. I'm just.
But why are those the ones that we're directly comparing to? Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not sure that Meta and Bitcoin are fulfilling the same economic.
One is an operating business focused on revenue. The other one is a store of value. Like they're apples and oranges. It's a weird comparison, although it's always kind of been the comparison. It's always been, where is Bitcoin's market cap relative to other companies? I suppose you can try to draw some parallels there. But they're also completely different businesses. Like they're not even in the same investability wise. You invest in both of them for two totally different reasons. Like I don't know why they're being compared here, but it is interesting to see that, at the very least, if you're up there in the trillions in market cap, you're in pretty good company. So that's definitely interesting. Excuse me. I got the hiccups. It's like the strangest thing ever. So yeah, I mean, it was at 981 billion when it hit 50K. I can't remember what the market cap was at its peak. I think it was like 1.2 trillion or something of Bitcoin. So we still have a little ways to go before we get to at least the previous high of Bitcoin market cap. But I think, yeah, it definitely is suggesting positive outcomes for this year. Hopefully.
You know what isn't suggesting positive outcomes?
Anything to do with Biden?
Anything to do with Biden.
This is the most ridiculous.
Not positive outcome.
So we talked a little bit yesterday about the Super Bowl and the lack of crypto ads and all that stuff. And then so every president in history has gotten an interview for the Super Bowl. So it's like you get to speak to 100 million people in America. It's the biggest television event in the world, I think. And it's a way to get your message out there and platform out there. Well, Biden abstained last year, also abstained this year, but instead decided to put out like a 45-second video. Now, if you haven't looked at the video, not necessarily crypto related, go watch it. It's embarrassing. Whether you're a Biden fan or not, it's embarrassing. There's 14 cuts in a 40-second video. So what does that tell you about how many takes it took to put that shit together? Anyways, it's but why this is in the headlines is he had laser eye meme at the beginning of the video, which to me is hilarious, actually, because Biden, and in particular Democrats, that so freaks me out even being on the screen. But Biden and the Democrats have been, pretty vocal opponents to digital currencies and regulations surrounding digital currencies until their hand has been forced of late. And so to see this is a feeble attempt, in my opinion, to try to connect with a younger generation by trying to seem hip, while at the same time barely being able to talk. And it's definitely interesting. I don't think it did any good for Bitcoin or the laser eye meme or crypto in any way. It definitely wasn't on crypto didn't pay him to do that. Like no. And
it's definitely not good for his look. I mean, one, some people think that it's a super anti-mega move, which I probably don't have the cultural context for. Other people think it's just a bad look considering all of the Israel politics at the same time. He looks like kind of a sick warlord in a movie. So I mean, it just, what I'm saying is that the backlash is there for Biden. Like no matter what he's going to do right now, it's not going to be a good look. And so taking this weird play is definitely not a good look. But some people think that it is bullish for crypto because maybe it's a signal that he's going to become pro crypto. And like, that's just such a push for me. Like, I don't think he has that much forethought.
I think some staffer somewhere that's a Bitcoin maxi thought it was cool and put it on there and made some argument as to why, and they went with it, which
for sure
to me is laughable. The other thing that's laughable is with all of this stuff going on in the world right now. I mean, he's talking about sizeflation, I think he called it, where like corporations are putting less shit in the bag of chips, less chips in the bag of chips, and then selling it for the same price. It's like the same concept as price inflation. For the same amount of volume, you just get less volume for the same price. Anyways, he spent the whole 45 seconds talking about that, which is pretty tone deaf given Russia, Ukraine, given the Middle East and Israel, given the economic crisis in the United States, the challenges with China. I mean, what?
Given just everything at once?
Everything, like the southern border, like crypto regulation, enforcement. Like there's many things that are way the hell up higher in the priority list than that. But anyways.
So the other thing though is that people are saying, wow, look, even though crypto wasn't in the Super Bowl, it technically was in the Super Bowl because we had Biden tweeting about being pro crypto at the time, and also Jack Dorsey wearing a Satoshi shirt in the crowd, in his box seat. So I don't know. People want to see Bitcoin and they want to see crypto be successful. And that I think is where a lot of this hype is coming from.
Yeah. I struggle with all things Biden. I think as a society, we've completely lost our minds.
Yeah, but just aside from Biden, like think about Jack Dorsey. People just want to see crypto places. It's not like Jack Dorsey was the only person wearing a crypto shirt in that stadium.
Yeah. I mean, he's just a popular figure that obviously has been talking about crypto for a long time and Web 5.
But this is my point, is that he wasn't the only guy wearing a crypto shirt, which is kind of a cool place to be for the crypto world. So I don't know, get bullish on it if you want.
I think it's interesting, but pretty tasteless in my opinion. So I don't know, but nothing is as
nothing compares to the fake tweet by the SEC about ETFs being passed.
So it was kind of funny at the time, I think, and it caused a lot of problems, obviously, in the markets, and people got liquidated and weird shit happened. But anyways, essentially what happened, they've confirmed now it was a SIM swap. So a hacker somehow got access to the SEC's Twitter via a SIM swap on somebody's phone that had access to the SEC's Twitter. And I mean, this is a pretty common attack vector, I guess, is the easiest way to explain it. I mean, it was unauthorized. Obviously, it kind of highlighted the approval of the ETFs for the next day. There's essentially what they're saying is they've got, law enforcement involved and cybersecurity involved and a whole bunch of other people. But what's kind of laughable here is that they didn't have any form of 2FA on the SEC's Twitter.
They probably didn't even know it was on one of their staffers' phones.
Yeah, but my point is they're responsible for enforcing and identifying rules and compliance, yet they're not following the most basic of security rules. which I could only imagine would be punishable by them if they found a financial institution doing something similar, honestly. So anyways.
But maybe there are ETFs on the horizon. Maybe the SIM swap wasn't for naught.
Well, no, the SIM swap actually announced what ended up happening the next day, which was the Bitcoin ETFs were approved. But anyways, we've been talking about this a lot.
Horizon, do you think that that's coming? People were guessing May, but some people think it's going to be sooner now.
I don't think it's going to be sooner. I don't think it's going to be in May, to be honest. I think Ethereum is still only at about a quarter of the market cap of Bitcoin, and it has a greater max drawdown and volatility than Bitcoin does, which had been the complaint or the counter argument against Bitcoin ETFs for a long time. I think it'll be hard to stop it entirely. I just think they're going to drag their feet on it. I suspect they will postpone the decision the full 3 times that they're able to do so, or well, 2 postponements and 3 decisions. I think that's what will happen personally. Having said that, BlackRock is pretty influential, and they're one of the applications for the ETH ETF. And so it'll be interesting. It'll definitely be interesting to see if it happens. I do think it will happen. I do think it will happen this year. I just am not 100% certain it's going to happen in the next month or 2, but it'd be cool if it did.
Price is going up though. People are stoked about it, and people are stoked about dank sharding and all that.
Dank sharding. I can't get on board with dank sharding.
Like the lingo.
Yeah. This is cool though. This Franklin Templeton thing, which I guess we can jump. Oh,
we doubled down. That's all.
There you go. Yeah, we both clicked it. Oh boy. This is cool because I think then you can have your cake and eat it too a little bit. And I mean, if you're not participating in staking, you're actually being inflated out of your position, your position in token percentage relative to the circulating supply, because a lot of people are participating in staking and validation and are getting the inflation. So anyways, this is interesting. I think it's if anything, it's probably one of the arguments against an ETF up until now is that you miss out then on the subsequent earning opportunities. I am not sure if this will be approved because I think it adds orders of magnitude more complexity and risk, in my opinion, to the ETF as they understand it. So yes, you can stake, but there's potential issues that can happen with staking. There's smart contract risks that are significant relative to Bitcoin as a simple asset, or ETH as a simple asset, pardon me. There's just a lot of complexity there. I think this would be really cool. I think it's something that if it's not approved immediately, will eventually be approved because it will lead to greater adoption. I'm just happy that Franklin Templeton actually was able to see and spent the time to understand the market dynamics of ETH, and that ETFs aren't going to be as attractive if you can't earn the 5-6% staking yield, 4-5-6% staking yield, whatever it is. So anyways, definitely interesting.
It's kind of a different way to embrace this. People were just excited about Bitcoin ETFs passing, but since that's kind of done, an ETF is going to be lackluster without an extra feature. So
I'm going to make it Bitcoin orange today.
Okay.
Can you see my?
Did you see though that ETH gas fees are wild right now?
Yeah, I was just preoccupied changing my background color to Bitcoin colors. Yeah, ETH gas fees are bananas.
8-month high this week.
Yeah, so part of it is because of this ERC 404. There's a ton of kind of testing and all of this stuff that's congesting the network with respect to this. They're also suggesting that the launch of Pandora was a big reason for this. I can't remember specifically what it was about Pandora that they were interested in. Where is that? There we go. So yeah, I mean, we've been saying this forever that I mean, ETH still is definitely not out of the woods in terms of scalability. I mean, dank sharding, which we're going to talk about, I believe, in a second, is going to help the cost of more complex transactions and help transactions across layer 2s, et cetera, and all of these things be a lot more efficient. But I mean, it's definitely a huge step, but there's still these shocks that create crazy congestion and price or gas spikes. I mean, yeah, once more and more things move to layer 2,
could reduce roll-up cost by 10 times. The blob mentality might carry transactions faster. We'll see, I guess.
Uh-oh.
Are you okay? Are you having a seizure today?
No, did something weird happen?
No.
Oh, my Siri on my Mac decided to think that I was talking to it. So,
cool.
Anyways, okay, having a seizure. Funny story. I was in the airport in Chicago on Sunday, and a guy in security had like a full-on proper seizure for like 15 minutes. Right at the conveyor belt where you like put all your bags on and stuff. Yeah. It's crazy. Like, and he was like completely seized up for probably like 8 or 10 minutes. It was so scary. Yeah. Anyways, okay. Dank sharding, Denkin upgrade.
It's coming.
March 13th. So obviously exactly 1 month today. We talked about this a little bit before. I mean, obviously the dank sharding and the blobs enhance the scalability and reduce transaction costs, of course. Vitalik thinks that, you know, you need to have cheap transactions. That, if you remember, in 2021 was the whole narrative.
That was the deal.
Faster, cheaper, faster, cheaper, faster, cheaper. That was the whole thing. ETH, to its credit, has caught up in a lot of ways, way quicker than I ever thought was possible, because they are effectively building the plane in the air while flying. So you got to give them credit for it. I think this is going to be interesting. My concern still is the concentration of protocols and activity on ETH mainnet is still, in my opinion, too great. There should be more activity on the layer 2s using ZKs, but transition, but you know, using ZKs and different things to help with just congestion in general, which by extension keeps the prices down. So anyways, before belaboring that to death, exciting, 1 month away. Let's see if it actually has the impact that they're hoping. But I want to be.
Speaking of impact, do you think that this Polygon rollout is going to have the impact they are hoping for?
Well, ZK EVM was like their thing that they were all about last year, which is pretty cool. It's the first time that they've that anybody had married an EVM with ZK and turned it into an actual chain, which is what Polygon launched, which is pretty neat. But their challenge then was, how do they communicate with other layer 2s? And how can they communicate with other layer 2s using ZKs? And so they've come out now with what they're calling a type 1 prover technology, which essentially incorporates ZK proofs in how layer 2s communicate with each other. So it's pretty interesting. They've open sourced it. I haven't looked super deeply at it for a few reasons. I don't currently have any projects or protocols on layer 2s, so I'm not super concerned about you know, what potential it offers. I do like the fact that they made it open source, because I think the whole idea is to just expand connectivity and have other people build on it and make it better. It's not, you know, proprietary moat that they're putting around Polygon. What it should do is it should allow access to a lot more ETH-L2 assets to Polygon protocols and users. So, I mean, all in all, I think these infrastructure / communication layers, I think, are going to become increasingly more relevant over the next little bit. So we'll see where that goes.
I just like to see anything that's going to scale up, right? And so if they are ready to scale it out, if they think that there's going to be a big uptake and there's some sort of applicable function for it, I'm just happy to see them expand.
Yeah, I mean,
let's go for it.
I struggle a little bit with Polygon because I feel like it's been a lot of bark and not that much bite over the years. But at the same time, they were well ahead of their time as an ETH-L2, in my opinion, and have done a lot for the space. So love them or hate them. I think they've moved the space forward a lot with respect to scaling technologies. And so good for them. All right. That will do it for today. That will do it for today. Tomorrow, obviously, we have another exciting show.
News.
The news.
DGen news.
DGen news, 12:30 p.m. Eastern. Yeah, like, share, subscribe. Make sure you help us out, help get the word out. Kira, I hope you have a wonderful day, but go FUD yourself.
Go FUD yourself.
Later.